What's up, guys? I'm Chris, and today you're watching a Caleb Wade special. Alright, so as you guys know, if you've been following the channel, I'm a huge fan of Caleb Wade. You've probably seen my review for Frankenstein, his book test, and then also Occult, which is the unmarked ESP, modern ESP system. So those were two amazing releases for the mentalism world. But I wanted to let you guys know that he has a few other things that maybe you don't know about. You might, but so he has two free ebooks that I'm going to kind of review quickly here, and then he has two ebooks that cost £10 each, and I think they're all very, very good. Let's get into them. So the first one we're going to talk about is Human Cluedo, which is it's one of his free ebooks, so you can either download this from Black Cat Magic or directly from Caleb's website, and I'll give you the links to both. Now, before I get into details on each specific routine or effect, I will mention that Caleb's routines typically are multi-phase. So, you could be divining a word, but there's going to be more to it. There's going to be other mentalism aspects in there. So whatever you get from Caleb, you're always getting more than just one basic routine or effect. It's most oftentimes a number of kind of smaller effects built into one big one. So that's something I really like, because most of the time when you're purchasing an effect, you're getting that effect and that's it. But this incorporates a lot more. So Human Cluedo is no exception. With that, you're going to start off the routine by showing your participant 50 different murder weapons in a notepad, and they're going to select one of the murder weapons. Now, after they select a murder weapon, they are going to tear the page out of the booklet, crumple it up, place it behind their back, put it into one of two hands, and then they're going to decide if they are a liar or a truth teller. So this has a number of different aspects built into it. You have, in the end, you're going to divine the murder weapon, and it's 100% accuracy. Very simple. The method is really good. Then, after that, you are going to tell them which hand they have the crumpled up paper in. And finally, you will reveal if they were a liar or a truth teller. So, like I said, with that, you have a word revelation or an item revelation, you have a witch hand effect, and then you also have a truth teller or liar effect. And then that's not it. To kick it off, you have a kicker ending, which you show that you have predicted all of their choices in advance. So that's kind of the rundown on the routine, but the method, it's all very, very smart. It's very simple to do. Now, with this, you do need another item. So Caleb goes over ways to which you can make this on your own, or you can purchase it. So, are there arts and crafts? There could be. It depends if you either want to make it yourself or spend the money. To make it yourself, you probably have everything you need at home. If not, you can pick it up very, very cheap. Basically a notepad, right? I'm not going to go any further into that, but that's part of the routine. So, if you choose to make it yourself, it's going to be very cheap. Now, all in all, I really do like this effect because of the method, you're always way, way, way ahead of your participant. You know everything by simply asking two questions, and the questions aren't fishing questions. They are questions that make sense because they're part of the routine. So, as in a witch hand effect, it's my dog shaking your ear, so just don't mind that. But if you're doing a witch hand effect, right, you may ask a couple of questions. Again, it doesn't seem like fishing because it's not. So ultimately, you divine everything, you predicted everything, and the questions are built in, which help you out, but also fit perfectly into the routine, the plot, and the way things kind of roll out. So that's Human Cluedo. That one is free, so I would definitely check that one out because it's not going to cost you anything. Next, we have the ebook 3, which is 3 different effects put into this ebook, and it's also a free ebook. So the first one is called Unbendable. Now, this can be used in a number of different ways. Basically, you are able to extend your arm and have the biggest, strongest person in the room unable to bend your arm. You can start this off by having somebody much smaller come and push down on your arm, and they do it, right? And then you get a big guy up and he can't, right? So this can be done a number of ways. It can be done as a feat of strength. It can be done as kind of a hypnosis thing. It can be done as an influence demonstration. So ultimately, you kind of choose the presentation that you want to apply to this. But again, the method is very, very simple. I have tried it. It works. It's, I was surprised actually because it was so simple, right? And I've done this style of routine before with like a tear no tear notepad. And with that routine, there are a number of different kind of body positions or places where you can have somebody push where you kind of achieve the same effect, but some of those moves seem a little bit weird, right? Whereas this, having your arm outstretched, it's or extended, it's not weird at all, right? And there's just one little thing in there that makes this possible. And at first I read it and I thought, well, I don't know if that'll work, right? I mean, I assumed it would, because why would he put it in there, right? Why would he release it? But I felt like there might be more to it. But once I tried it, it was just as it said, super simple, and it worked. All right, the next one is called the LJTODV, and that is a tossed out deck effect. Now, what's nice about this is in the beginning, you can genuinely show that the cards are different. And then taking that a step further is you get multiple people to select a card, and in the end, you divine all their cards. Now, what makes this different than most tossed out decks is that in the end, even if you're just doing this for a small number of people, they can all talk about the selections afterwards amongst each other, which a lot of tossed out decks, if you know how they work, you can't do that, right? You do them for a big audience. Chances are this person's not going to know this person in the audience, and they're probably not going to talk after, so you're safe. Whereas with this, you can do it to 4 people, or you can do it to 4,000 people, right? Or in front of 4,000 people. But either way, in the end, they can talk about what happened, and it doesn't give anything away. It doesn't ruin your reputation after, because the secret is out. But anyway, so with this, I will mention that you do need to purchase a gimmicked deck. Okay. So I'll just go ahead and say that. But since this is free, you're not out anything, right? If you decide that you don't want to purchase this deck, well, this didn't cost you anything, so you don't have to. But the routine is really nice. It's a great effect, and I think it kind of goes above and beyond most tossed out decks because of all the fairness and that they can talk about it after. And then finally, the last effect in 3 is MOAFDL. And I'm not going to say what that is, because that basically gives away a big part of the method in the routine. Again, I probably could say because it's a free ebook, but it's just go get it, right? And check it out. So basically, this is a double word revelation, very fair. Again, you're quite a bit ahead most of the time, and then with the kicker ending is that you've already predicted in advance one of these words. Now, me just saying what it is, it doesn't really give it justice. You have to actually go out and do it to see that it is quite powerful, right? But the method is very easy. You will need something else, which again, this is free, right? So if you decide it's not for you, then don't bother with it. But there's a good chance if you're a mentalist, you already own this. And if not, you should. You should, because there's so much more that you can do with it, and so many different ways that you can use it with 1,000 different applications. So if you don't have it, you should get it, but you probably have it. With that, I guess that kind of wraps up 3. Now we will get to the paid ebooks, which are still really cheap, £10. So the first one is called Afterglow, and I love this routine. Now, with this, if you read the description ahead of time, there are other things that you need. I shouldn't say that you need them, because this originally was designed to be used with an electronic die. If you have one, perfect, you're good to go. If you don't, there are other ways to do this. There's also another way using Barry's Casino, which can be picked up at Black Cat Magic. And if you have recently been in the mentalism Facebook groups, you've probably heard of the new release called System 1. Now I'm going to be doing a review on that right away. It's a good system, but that's for another review. All I'm going to say is that you could apply that to this instead of using the electronic die, and that costs nothing. It cost, I think, £10 for the ebook, but it's not going to cost you anything to make that system work or to apply it to this Afterglow. So anyway, just saying that. But the other thing that you will need is the Afterglow gimmick, which you can construct yourself. If you're a mentalist, you already likely have the materials, or you can purchase the Afterglow effect from Kaleb's website, or I know that Barry had been making them at Black Cat Magic. I'm not sure if they're in stock at the moment, but I believe that they are on Kaleb's site. I did just look yesterday. So, but again, if you don't want to purchase them, you can make them relatively easily. There are a number of different resources out there that explain how to make them. So let's get into the routine. This is somewhat similar to human Cluedo, but I think a lot more developed, more of a full routine, and I think it's a lot more impossible, it seems, right? So basically you're going to divine 3 things. You're going to divine the outcome of a coin toss. You're going to divine the outcome of a coin toss. Then you're going to divine the outcome of a die. And then finally, you will divine a playing card. Okay, we've maybe done that before, right? But then to kick it off, you bring out an envelope, and that shows that you have already divined all of those things in advance. You predicted them, right? So just, think about that. You have a 50-50, right? You have a 1 in 6, and then you have a 1 in 52. And then when you combine all of that, it's pretty impressive, because the odds of you getting all 3 the odds are not in your favor, right? Like there's a lot of different combinations that can happen. So that's what happens there. The method, again, is very simple, but it's very, very well thought out. And what's really nice about this is that, the coin can be borrowed, and it's a free toss, right? So I know that that's only 50-50, but when you factor that into the end, that you've predicted all the outcomes, it's pretty impressive. There's a lot in the ebook, right? So it might kind of seem like, the effect could be explained in a number of paragraphs, but with Kaleb, he's laid everything out. Like, he's done all the work. He's given you all the methods, given you pattern and presentation examples, but then he also gives you alternate ideas. There's other routines in there. So there's also, if you don't want to use the electric die, he has a routine that uses the casino chips. And then he has a routine that uses an invisible deck. And then, there's a number of different routines that he's incorporated into one kind of big project. So I recommend checking that out. It's definitely worth the £10. You're going to get something out of it. Even if you don't perform this exactly as he does, I think that there's still a lot in here that is worth checking out the ebook for. And I should mention, if you purchase the Afterglow gimmick, that will be £25. So up to you if you want to purchase that, or if you want to construct it. You can also use that gimmick for other things outside of this effect, so it will come in handy no matter what. And finally, we have Cinematic, which is also £10. Now this one, you have a double movie prediction. One of the predictions you know immediately. The other one you know almost instantaneously. I can't really say too much about it. Like, it's very, very fair. Okay, one is a completely free choice, but because of the way Kaleb has put this together, you know exactly what it is by asking one thing. And because the other one does not require any kind of fishing or questions or anything, it makes this one still seem very, very fair, because even if you don't get an exact hit on this one, you do on the other. So you're still in a very, very good position. And then again, once you know one thing, you know exactly what movie they selected. But that's not it. So you were able to divine both movies in a very, very fair way. But what's really, really neat about this is that then you introduce a business card, okay, and you turn it over and you show that you've written something. And at first, it's not going to make sense, right? And this is kind of the surprise kicker. But when you turn this over, it's not going to make a lot of sense. But then you're going to tell your participant to take out their phone, go to IMDb, which everybody's familiar with. So this uses their phone. It uses no special apps or gimmicks. But what you're going to do is you're going to have them go to the IMDb website, and all of a sudden this is going to make sense, because they're going to go into a movies list and they're going to go down the list to this number, and that's going to match the movie that they selected. So that's the big kicker. Really, really great effect. And I like that it incorporates the participant's phone, and you can do this with a number of different participants too. I think I really like that. With this, I will mention there are two different methods. Okay, they kind of work the same way, but one involves a special pad of sorts. Okay, I can't say what it is, which again, you can either make yourself or you can purchase. But if you don't want to use that method, you can also do this with double blank playing cards, and you will get the same outcome. Chances are you probably already have some blank or double blank playing cards. So if you want to use that instead, that'll work. There is a tiny bit of memory work, but again, with Kaleb, he has done all the work for you. So he's already incorporated all the mnemonics, right? There's not a lot that you need to know. If you have anything like, certain book tests, I guess I'm just going to leave it at that, then you know that it's very easy to memorize a number of words, and this is pretty much the same. I can't go into saying more than that, but I just do want to mention that there is a little bit of memory work. Very simple though. And then on top of that, right, so with the memory work, I almost kind of like that, because the list of mnemonics that Kaleb has given can also be applied to other things. So you're definitely getting a bonus out of this, right? Everybody can use help and techniques when it comes to memory work, and Kaleb's included all of that, so it's nice because I'll apply that to other things. So, I mean, I don't know, this is a bit of a different review. I don't have anything to show you. You can pick up Afterglow and Cinematic, I believe, as a physical copy, a book. I'll leave links in the description below so that you can check these out. Definitely go grab the free ones, because why not? You've got nothing to lose. That'll give you an idea of Kaleb's work, Kaleb's thinking, but it doesn't even really scratch the surface when it comes to Kaleb's work. So with that, I think that's kind of all I got to say in the Kaleb Wade special. Check him out. Check out his stuff. Great guy and genius. When it comes to mentalism, he has put out some really, really great work, great releases. So I definitely keep an eye out for him. All of his ebooks are a joy to read. He's got a great sense of humor, and he incorporates that into his writing. So anyway, with that, we'll see you at the next review.